The PICC line in my arm needed dressing changes every 3 days. The visiting nurse came on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to check it, flush it, and make sure infection wasn't setting in. The rest of the time, I managed it myself with the supplies in my medical bag: sterile gloves, gauze, tape, saline flushes, and the IV antibiotics I had to infuse twice daily. I was 26 and living in Mom's house because a routine appendectomy had gone wrong. Surgical site infection, then sepsis, then 6 weeks of IV antibiotic treatment at home. My apartment lease had ended during my hospital stay. I planned to find a new place after recovery, but Mom offered her spare room. She said it made sense while I was sick. That was a mistake. The medical supplies took up space in her bathroom. The visiting nurse disrupted her morning routine. The IV pump beeped at midnight and 6 in the morning when I had to do my infusions. I was tired, weak, unable to work full-time. My short-term disability payments covered my student loans and car insurance, but not much else. Mom started making comments after the first week. How much longer is this treatment? 4 more weeks, maybe 5, depending on my blood work. And the nurse has to come 3 times a week. The PICC line needs monitoring. If it gets infected, I'll end up back in the hospital. She sighed, that particular sigh that meant I was being difficult. I'm just saying, this is expensive. My water bill is up from all your showers. The electricity from that pump running. The nurse tracking through my house. The nurse is covered by insurance. So is the treatment. But I'm feeding you, housing you. My expenses have gone up. You're not contributing anything. I was too tired to argue. The infection had taken everything out of me. I spent most days sleeping, doing my infusions, and trying to eat enough to keep my strength up. 2 weeks later, Mom sat me down at the kitchen table. She had papers spread out in front of her. Bank statements, investment portfolios, spreadsheets. I need to talk to you about money. Okay. I've been tracking my expenses since you moved in. Between the extra food, utilities, and supplies you use, it's costing me about $400 a month. Mom, I can pay you something when my disability check comes. That's not the point. The point is you're draining my accounts. I have a retirement plan. I have investments. I have a specific budget, and you're throwing it all off. I stared at her. I have a PICC line in my arm. I'm fighting off a post-surgical infection that almost killed me, and you're worried about $400? $400 a month adds up. That's $4,800 a year. That's money that should be growing in my retirement account, earning compound interest. Do you know what $4,800 invested at a 7% annual return becomes over 10 years? I don't care. You should care. That's how wealth is built. That's how people secure their futures. Not by taking on burdens that drain resources. I'm your daughter, not a burden. Right now, financially, you are both. The words hit like a slap. I sat there with my PICC line taped to my arm, my medical bag on the chair beside me, weak from an infection that had nearly killed me, and my mother was calculating the opportunity cost of keeping me alive. 3 days later, she brought it up again. Have you thought about moving out? I'm still in treatment. I can barely walk to the bathroom without getting exhausted. There are recovery facilities, extended care places. Your insurance might cover it. You want to put me in a nursing home? I'm 26. I'm just saying you have options. You don't have to stay here. But I did have to stay there. I had nowhere else to go. My friends had small apartments with roommates. My dad was remarried in another state. I had no savings left after the hospital bills. I was trapped. The following week, Mom's complaints intensified. Every medical supply I used, every shower I took, every meal I ate, she tracked it all, calculated costs, and made spreadsheets showing how much I was draining from her accounts. You're being dramatic, I said after another lecture about utility costs. This is temporary. In 3 weeks, the PICC line comes out, and I can start looking for a job again. 3 weeks is a long time financially. That's another $1,200 of expenses. Do you know what I could do with $1,200? I could increase my investment in that tech stock I've been watching. I could max out my Roth IRA contribution for the month. I could be dead. Don't be dramatic. You're fine. You're recovering. You just need to be more considerate of the financial impact your presence has. The eviction came 2 weeks before my treatment was scheduled to end. Mom came into my room at 8 in the morning. I was still in bed, exhausted from a rough night. The infection was finally clearing, but recovery was slow. We need to talk. Can it wait? I feel terrible. No, it can't wait. I've made a decision. You need to move out. Today. I sat up, the room spinning slightly. What? This arrangement isn't working. You're draining my accounts. My stress levels are through the roof. My financial advisor said I need to cut unnecessary expenses. You're an unnecessary expense. I'm your daughter. You're a 26-year-old adult who needs to take responsibility for herself. I've provided housing for 2 months. That's generous. But I can't keep subsidizing your medical situation. You need to find somewhere else to go. I have a PICC line. I have 2 more weeks of antibiotics. I have a visiting nurse coming. You can redirect the nurse to wherever you end up. Take your medical bag and your supplies and figure it out. I need my space back. I need my routine back. I need to stop hemorrhaging money. You're throwing me out during medical treatment. I'm setting a boundary. There's a difference. She left the room, giving me until 4 o'clock that afternoon to pack and leave. I called everyone I knew. My friend Maria said I could crash on her couch for a few days until I figured something out. I packed my clothes, my medical supplies, my IV antibiotics that needed refrigeration, my infusion pump, everything I needed to survive the next 2 weeks. Mom watched me load my car. I struggled with the medical bag, my arms weak, the PICC line pulling uncomfortably. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed. You're draining my accounts. She snapped when I dropped the bag and had to catch my breath. You've been nothing but a financial burden. I drove to Maria's apartment and cried in her bathroom while doing my evening antibiotic infusion. But I survived. Maria let me stay on her couch for 2 weeks. The PICC line came out. The infection cleared. I found a new apartment, went back to work, rebuilt my life. And I remembered. I remembered every comment about utilities, every spreadsheet calculating my cost, every lecture about compound interest and opportunity cost. I remembered being called a drain, a burden, an unnecessary expense. I remembered struggling with my medical bag while she watched me leave. That was 7 years ago. 7 years of working hard, saving money, advancing in my career. I went from data analyst to senior analyst to analytics manager. I earned well, lived below my means, invested carefully. I bought a small house 3 years ago, then a rental property, then another. Real estate in my city was appreciating fast. I refinanced, pulled equity, bought more properties. By 33, I had 4 rental properties generating steady income. Mom and I maintained minimal contact, holiday phone calls, occasional emails. She talked about her investments constantly, the stocks she was buying, her portfolio performance, her growing retirement accounts. Then last fall, the market crashed. Not a big, catastrophic crash, a sector-specific one. Tech stocks plummeted. The company's mom had been heavily invested and lost 60, 70, even 80% of their value. Her portfolio, which she bragged about for years, evaporated. She'd been overleveraged, too concentrated in high-risk stocks. She borrowed against her home equity to invest more, thinking the market would keep climbing. When it crashed, she lost not just her gains but her principal. She lost everything. I heard about it from my aunt. Your mother's in trouble. She lost most of her money in the market. She's facing foreclosure on her house. She's been calling everyone in the family asking for loans. I didn't call her. She called me, left a voicemail. Hi, sweetheart, it's Mom. I need to talk to you about something important. Call me back. I deleted it. She called again the next day. It's Mom again. I really need to talk to you. It's urgent. Please call back. I deleted that one too. The voicemails kept coming, one every day, sometimes 2. Her voice grew more desperate each time. I need help with my mortgage payment. The bank is threatening foreclosure. I don't know who else to turn to. Please, I'm your mother. I need you. After 3 weeks of voicemails, she showed up at my house. I watched through the window as she parked in my driveway and walked up to my front door. She looked older, thinner, stress written across her face. I answered the door but didn't invite her in. Emma, thank God. I've been trying to reach you. I got your messages. Then why didn't you call back? I'm in trouble, real trouble. I lost everything in the market crash, tech stocks, everything. I'm 3 months behind on my mortgage. The bank is starting foreclosure proceedings. I need help. How much help? I need $8,000 to catch up on the mortgage. Then I need about $2,000 a month going forward until I can get back on my feet. My retirement accounts are gone. My savings are gone. I have nothing left. I stood in the doorway of the house I owned, looking at the mother who'd thrown me out during medical treatment because I was draining her accounts. You told me I was a financial burden. You calculated how much I cost you per day. You made spreadsheets about opportunity cost. You threw me out while I had a PICC line in my arm because I was costing you money. That was different. That was 7 years ago. This is now. I'm facing foreclosure. I could lose my home. I was facing a potentially fatal infection. You didn't care. I was stressed. I was worried about money. I made a mistake, but I'm your mother. You can't just abandon me. You abandoned me first. Emma, please. I'm desperate. I've asked everyone. No one will help me. You're my only option. I know you're doing well. Your aunt told me about your properties. You have money. Please, just enough to save my house. I thought about being 26, sick and weak, packing my medical supplies while she stood in the doorway calculating her losses. I thought about doing IV infusions on Maria's couch at midnight, trying not to wake her. I thought about every voicemail Mom had left, asking for money without once apologizing for what she'd done. No. What? No, I'm not going to help you. You let me lose my house. You let your own mother become homeless. You were willing to make me homeless while I was sick, while I had a medical device in my arm, while I was fighting off an infection, because it was costing you money. That was different. I was trying to protect my financial future. And now you have no financial future because you made bad investments. That's not my problem. Emma, please, I'm begging you. I'll pay you back. Once I get back on my feet, I'll pay back every penny. You couldn't even let me stay 2 weeks without making spreadsheets about how much I cost. Why would I give you thousands of dollars? Because I'm your mother. You were my mother 7 years ago too. It didn't stop you from throwing me out during medical treatment. She started crying. I made a mistake. I was wrong. I should have supported you. I should have put you first. But I can't change the past. I can only ask for help now. And I can only remember the past. That's what guides my decision now. So you're going to let me lose everything? You let me struggle with a medical bag while you calculated opportunity costs. You called me a drain on your accounts while I was fighting off an infection. You prioritized compound interest over your daughter's health. Those were your choices. These are the consequences. Emma, please, I'll do anything. I'll apologize. I'll admit I was wrong. I was terrible to you. I was selfish and cruel, and I should have been there for you. Is that what you want to hear? Because it's true. I was wrong. Please, just help me. The apology was real. I could hear it in her voice, see it in her face. She meant it. But meaning it now didn't change what she'd done then. It didn't change the fear I felt being thrown out while sick. It didn't change the nights on Maria's couch wondering if the infection would come back. It didn't change the knowledge that my own mother had valued money over my life. I'm not giving you money, I said. But I'll give you information. There are emergency assistance programs through the county, food banks, housing assistance for seniors. You can apply for all of those. There are also debt counselors who work with people facing foreclosure. I'll send you some contacts. That's not enough. I need money now. Then you'll need to find it somewhere else. Emma, you're my daughter. You're supposed to help me. I was your daughter 7 years ago. You didn't help me. I closed the door. She stood on my porch for another 10 minutes, crying, begging. Then she left. The voicemails continued for another week. Then they stopped. My aunt told me Mom lost the house. She moved into a small apartment and got a part-time job at 61 because she had no retirement savings left. She was surviving, but barely. And I was fine with that. Because 7 years ago, she taught me that family wasn't about obligation. It was about choice. She'd chosen money over her daughter. Now, I was choosing my own peace over her financial crisis. She wanted me to understand opportunity cost, investment returns, financial priorities. I understood perfectly. I'd just learned that some things aren't worth investing in. And mothers who throw out their sick children are one of them.